Hello again and welcome to the Warhammer 40K Imperial Guard video. So before we start today's video, I want to say a big thank you to Thorn Ferguson for sending in some pictures of his latest Lehman Russ battle tank. This is part of the 127th Palatine Sentinels, and I have to say I really like it. It's very different to what I would normally see for an Imperial Guard scheme. You do see a lot of camouflage schemes, which is of course very good, and camouflage is actually quite difficult to paint. You tend to see a lot of sort of reds as well, but you don't see a lot of sort of purple highlights or sort of purple brighter areas on tanks. I have to say, I think it works really well here. Very regal looking vehicle with the purple and sort of the bronzy gold and the silver. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting design. I really like it. Very interesting. Thank you for sending it in, Thorn. If anyone else has any pictures they'd like me to use in my videos, please post them on my Facebook page. There will be a link down in the description below. And if they're cool, if you can get some action shots of your army in battle, that'd be fantastic. And I'll use them on the channel because I love to show off the hard work that you guys put into your models. But without further ado, let's take a look at today's video. Now, today's video is going to be something a little different. Something I don't normally do. I'm going to do a bit of sort of theory crafting. You see, there was recently an interesting discussion on Dakka. There's always interesting discussions, and I know many of you guys here poo-poo Dakka, which is fair enough. There's a lot of shit on there as well. But an interesting discussion regarding should Imperial Guard orders become stratagems? Because the problem, a lot of people were saying, was the problem is that Imperial Guard orders are very, very good, like the ability to move twice in a turn. The ability to shoot twice. I mean, when you think about it, first rank fire, second rank fire does allow you to shoot twice with your lasguns. I mean, yes, it is only lasguns, so but it's still an ability that a lot of other armies have to pay a stratagem for. And I thought my initial reaction to this was, of course, no, because that would cripple. That would cripple the guy. It just would. The fact, but then I thought, what about if Guard got brought in line with other factions? Because if you think about it, every other faction out there has aura buffs. So you have Space Marines with the captains, for example, Dark Elder. Yeah, another for example of the Xenos faction, G-Stealer Cult. They don't have there's not a lot of codexes out there which have the ability for you to select for one model to select another squad on a one-to-one basis. The only other example I can think of off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's more, is Necrons. Lords have the ability My Will Be Done, which allows them to hit on a +1. But it's one ability. Do you see what I mean? It's one ability. It's not like there's a whole codex built around it. And then again, they do have a lot of aura buffs as well. So what I was thinking is, what if Guard were brought into this line of thinking? If orders were to be made stratagems, what if Guard were brought into the same vein as other armies and we got aura buffs? So, for example, company commanders fulfilled the same role as captains and allowed you to reroll ones to hit. And what if platoon commanders fulfilled the same role as lieutenants and allowed you to reroll ones to wound? And this could all be within a 6 inch bubble. Now the reason I sort of I'm considering this and just tossing this idea out there is because that, like I said, that would sort of streamline us and bring us in line with the codexes, and also it's not like it would be brutally overpowered, because guard characters are very squishy, and it would only be making us the same as other coasters. Now, at first, I know a lot of you out there saying, no, that's shit, that's bad, but just think about it, guys, for a second. And think about, for those of you that think guard orders should be stratagems, you can't take something away without giving something. Otherwise, you inherently double nerf something and it just doesn't work. Would it be more powerful if guard had something like that? I think it would be. I think a lot of players out there don't really appreciate how unbelievably powerful it would be if suddenly, quite easily, every guard player had pretty much universal reroll 1s to hit or reroll 1s to wound across every unit in their army. I did a video recently about Yarick and how his reroll 1s to hit or is fantastic. Imagine if, and people say Cadians are really, really strong with their ability to reroll or, reroll 1s to hit if they stay still. Imagine if Cadians were doing that. Now, obviously, that Cadians would have to be reworked in some way. Their regiment trait would have to be reworked significantly. But it really does make you think, doesn't it? Are those players out there who are asking for Imperial Guard orders to be nerfed? Are they really going to be happy if they get that result? Because I guarantee if they're asked for Imperial Guard to be brought in line with other codexes, then you're going to see 3 company commanders and 3 platoon commanders in every list. And you're going to be facing a lot more Imperial Guard firepower. It's going to be really powerful. Because you could still have things like, you could still throw down things like combined squads. And you've got to remember, if you have orders and stratagems, if you just port over every order as a stratagem, then wouldn't that not mean you would be able to throw down multiple stratagems on one squad? At the moment, we can't do that outside of the laws of command. But could you imagine combining 2-3 squads together and then throwing down first rank fire? They're getting reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound. You might even have the ability for them to move after they've shot, advance and shoot. You can throw 4 or 5 stratagems on a unit. Bam, 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 bam. And then you've got a unit which is really powerful. It's interesting. What you could have, a strategy. You could take aim. If captains are giving a natural reroll 1 to wound, and lieutenants are give a reroll 1 to hit, and lieutenants are giving a natural reroll 1 to wound. But imagine if you could, if you had a stratagem which is like if you've got a unit within 6 inches of a company commander, you can use take aim and you can reroll all hits with that unit. And if you've got a unit within 6 inches of a lieutenant, and you can reroll all wounds that unit. Suddenly you could have a 20-30 man blob rerolling all hits, rerolling all wounds, thanks to these orders and stratagems. Orders as stratagems combining with aura buffs from captains, from company commanders and platoon commanders. It's an interesting idea. Right now, I think orders are just right where they are. I don't think they need to be fucked with. I think if they're made better in any way, it will be a short-term buff before they'll just get shredded. I think if they're made worse or folded away entirely, it will remove a huge amount of flavour from the Imperial Guard. A huge amount of flavour. And obviously it would make them just, everyone else gets buffs and we don't. So yeah, what do you guys think? Should we have this ability? Should we be brought in line with their armies? Should we have reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound from our characters? It's an interesting idea, and I think if it was to be implemented and we got a whole bunch of new stratagems, I think we'd find opposing players getting way more pissed off, wishing they'd never said anything. But maybe that's just me. What do you guys think? Leave some feedback, and I'll see you guys next time.